feel just so disconnected from the hurt, from the pain now. It's so, oh, it is literally so nice. What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel, Child Free Millennial. If you're new here, my name's Marcella, I'm 27, I'm child free, and I'm living my best life. Okay, so the other day I asked you guys on Instagram, let me just preface, hold on. If you're new here, I am divorced. I got divorced in the fall of 2021, I believe. That sounds about right. And if you've been here for a while, you already know. You already know the ups and downs that I went through. Well, maybe you don't, because I was very, very quiet on social media, because that's actually the year that I started all of this. But with that being said, I asked you guys some questions because just recently I was looking at the date, talking to my best friend on the phone, and she was like, oh my gosh, what day is it today? And I was looking at the date and I was like, oh, whoa, it's my old wedding anniversary date, and I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing, which is so great because I know that I've healed, I know that I've moved on. It totally passed me by, and if I hadn't have looked at the date, I wouldn't even have known. So I asked you guys on Instagram, I said, I'm gonna make a new and probably last divorce video, but do you have any divorce questions or thoughts? I do know that there's a lot of people on here who have been through a divorce, maybe even currently going through a divorce, and maybe even just like thinking about getting divorced. I don't know, which I would not wish that upon anyone because it genuinely sucks. But that being said, if you find yourself in a situation where you're debating divorce or not, that's a very serious thing, and I think you will know what's best for you better than anyone else. I just wanted to come on here to just answer your guys' questions. I feel like divorce is a very, very hush-hush topic, and I don't want it to be that way. I definitely don't want my channel to be surrounded or centered around divorce, but if this even helps one person, then I'm so grateful that I was able to just sit down and do this for you. So first question, how old are you? I'm 27. I got divorced when I was 25 and then turned 26, and around that same time is when the divorce was actually finalized and able to just go our separate ways, move on, whatever. I will say I got married young. Not everyone who gets married young is doomed for divorce, but I definitely think that there's a learning curve that needs to happen between your early 20s and your mid 20s. Getting married during that time is kind of tricky if it's not with the person you are supposed to be with. I'll just leave it at that. Another person says, my fiance and I are both divorced. Best decision ever for both of us, which I love. I have not talked to my ex at all since the court date long time ago. I can only assume that we have both gone our separate ways and are living both very different and very happy lives. Divorce is needed sometimes, and I'm so grateful for those who in hindsight can be like, you know what? This was the best decision that we could have made, and we're so happy that we did it. Another person asks, now that you've been divorced, would you get married again in the future? Why or why not? Yes, I would love to get married. I loved being married. I genuinely had so much fun with my ex. We were best friends pretty much. We had a huge history together of being friends before we dated, even before we married. And so I really, really loved it. It wasn't the person I was meant to be with. We were on two totally different levels and we couldn't find a common ground. We were so young, and as much as I wanted it to work, in the end, it just didn't. But I would love, love, love to get married again because I know that I would do it with the right person this time. And even if it is, like, even, let's just play devil's advocate. Even if it wasn't with the right person, I love being in love. I love being with someone in such a way that you know that they're yours, that it's just like this bond and this connection that I feel marriage brings to a relationship. I don't know, that's a hot take because I know some of you guys are like, F marriage, we freaking hate it. So that's a totally hot take. Along with that, have your thoughts on marriage changed? Yes, they really do. My thoughts on marriage and my thoughts on divorce have changed. Before I got divorced, before I was even in a relationship, I had judgments when I heard people getting divorced. I know that's a terrible thing to say. As someone who's divorced now, I would hope that no one would ever judge me, but it happens, especially if you've never been through one yourself. You're like,
well, why did they get divorced? It was probably her fault. No, it was probably his fault.
So many fingers that you can point, but now I have so much more empathy and I see it in a different light. Another person said, how did you know it was time to split? Ooh, I love that question. In my situation, it wasn't really up to me. There was some things that had happened in the past that kind of made the relationship a little rocky. There was not very much trust. It wasn't very good. I saw it as very toxic for myself. I had so much anxiety, so much just wonderment and just like wanting to check his phone and trying to be that crazy person because of certain events and certain things that had happened where I was like, I have no other choice but to monitor you because of the things that have happened in the past. You never know, could resurface and X, Y, and Z. So anyways, I didn't really know that it was time to split. It just happened. Something happened that really you could not go back on, and the separation happened, and during the separation, it was was clear as day we were not gonna get back together. I ultimately was the one who decided that the divorce was needed because I wasn't gonna be crying in the corner for months on months on months, just waiting on his response. And so for me, it was more of like, I need to do this for myself. Otherwise, I'm literally going to wither away and die because I wasn't eating. I was so depressed. I was anxious. I was literally shaking 24/7. My body was convulsing. It was terrible. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Next question. Someone said he's a turd and you're better than him. Oh my gosh, I love you, girl. Someone else said, did he want kids? At the time, did you want them or did you already know you were child free? That's such a loaded question because his mother really, really, really wanted kids, which that's fine. You know what? I'm sure she still does want grandkids, but I'm not gonna be the one to give them to her. And we had discussed it, but we got married so young and we never really talked about it beforehand. I know some of you are cringing, but that's just a reality. And so it just wasn't really a topic of conversation, but near the end of the entire marriage, we did come to a consensus that we didn't want to have kids. Now, whether or not that was him just saying that to please me, I don't know. No, the divorce was not because of kids. How long were you married for? I was married for almost 4.5 years. Someone else said, I didn't know you were married. No disrespect. Did the divorce inspire your page? No, I actually started the page February 2021 and the separation happened in April. So was it April? Shoot, I don't even remember now. That's a good thing. I think it happened in April, the separation, but no, the page I started just because I genuinely didn't have any friends who didn't want to have kids, so. And I'm so glad I did because I cannot thank you enough for being here. It means so much to me that I was just so smart to start this Instagram, this YouTube channel, because without you guys, oh my gosh, my life would be so much more different. Another person says, what was the breaking point? Why did you get a divorce? The breaking point / why I got a divorce, I don't want to talk about because it's a very personal thing and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or blame, point fingers and stuff. Obviously, you don't expect the worst and you don't expect your partner to do things to you that will hurt you, but people do. And unfortunately, you do have to be prepared for that because you're not guaranteed a perfect relationship. You're not guaranteed a forever marriage. And so going forward, I've definitely learned a lot of lessons. I've learned that you cannot control someone. You cannot, even though you want them to be the best person ever, you want them to be the spouse that you've always dreamed of, you cannot change someone. You cannot force someone to be Prince Charming. I've grown a lot from the experience. I'm so grateful that I went through it. I'm so grateful that I literally hit rock bottom to be able to have a conversation with myself and be like, girl, what are you doing? Pick yourself up, but also know that like you need to make changes because you need to find someone who is going to be good for you. Not a project, not a, oh, I can fix him. This isn't science. You're not doing experiments on people. You need to find someone who you're compatible with, someone who you're willing to compromise their likes, their dislikes with your likes and your dislikes. But ultimately, you need to find someone who is going to better you, who's going to lift you up, and someone who you won't find yourself just pulling along and dragging and constantly nagging and feeling like it's a DIY home project. Another person, when did you get married? It was in 2017. Mine will be 14 years ago this year. It was a learning experience, faux show. Thankful for supportive family and friends. Same. I could not have done what I did in the healing and just be where I'm at today without my family, without my parents, my siblings, without my dog, without my best friend, without my current boyfriend now. Oh my gosh, he is a literal angel. Post-divorce, it's so important to surround yourself with people who are going to help you, people who are going to lift you up, not people who are like, oh, just drink it away, just freaking do all the drugs, just try to forget about it and drown yourself in other things. You need to feel those feelings. You need to go through the emotions. You need to cry and literally wail in the corner in order to move on. Another person said, whoever said money can't buy happiness never paid for a divorce. So I will say, obviously we didn't have kids, we didn't have any big assets, and we were very, very, like I said, we were super good friends beforehand, and we did not end the marriage on like a I freaking hate your guts terms. At least I didn't. So it was very, very easy, very cheap, and very, very quick. So thank the Lord for that, I guess. Getting divorced was the first time it did something for me. It was so freeing. I love that. For me, getting divorced was the first time I was able to have a talk with myself and say, you know what? We learned some things from this marriage. We definitely had some good times. We definitely had some bad times, but there's things that you need to do in order to have a successful relationship the next time it goes forward. How are you doing post-divorce? Someone else says, I am doing so good. Let me be transparent for a second and just say that getting divorced was the hardest thing I've ever done so far in my life. I have never felt such pain, soul clenching pain. I don't even know if that's a term. My actual soul was in so much pain. I didn't think I would make it out alive. Like genuinely, I lost 20 pounds in like 3 weeks. I didn't eat. I was shaking. I'm like reliving it as I'm telling you, but it was an experience that was very, very eye-opening. I didn't even know my body could do that. I didn't know that I could cry that much. Like it's so hard for me to cry now because I genuinely cried so much in the course of a month that I think I lost all the tears in my body, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because then if I ever feel like I need to be emotional, like I can talk to you and not just be like, no, like I can have a normal conversation while also just feeling sad. I'm so incredibly happy. I know everybody's like,
Oh my gosh, I'm just like so happy.
no, but like I'm genuinely so happy. I feel like I mourned the relationship in the best way that I possibly could have. I felt the emotions. I was with friends and family who were uplifting me. I had really, really hard conversations with myself telling me what I did wrong, and moving forward, having those lessons in the back of my head being like, we don't want to make that mistake again. You don't want to revert back to the way you were doing things in the past relationship. And so I'm doing good. I'm doing really freaking good. As cliche and as, I don't know, cringy as this sounds, it's such a thing of the past that it doesn't even feel like it even happened. It's so weird, but I know that it happened, but like, it doesn't seem like it actually did. It kind of feels like a dream. Another person, did you ever see it coming? Honestly, yeah. During the relationship, I knew that it was so bad. My anxiety was so bad. My insecurity was so bad. Everything was just so bad that I knew something was gonna have to happen, that it was gonna have to change, and things were gonna have to get exponentially better, and there was gonna need to be a lot of growth, or the inevitable that divorce was gonna happen. And let me just say, it was the best thing that has ever happened to me. I cannot tell you how much better my life is. I cannot tell you how much more I've grown, how much happier I am. I have no anxiety and no depression in my life right now due to a relationship. Like, oh my gosh, it is so freeing and so liberating, and I could not be happier, actually. What is your advice to newly married couples knowing what you know now? Honestly, before you even get married, please, please, please make sure that you are mature enough and that you are not marrying someone because they are hot, or you're not marrying them because they have money, or because they have a sort of like social status. No superficial reasons. Please, everyone's gonna look old and look like a raisin and wrinkly, and you could go bankrupt, and so many things can happen. You need to love that person for who they are, for what they make you feel, what they can contribute to the relationship. This is me trying to convince my 17-year-old self to just, oh my gosh, stop being an idiot. Fellow divorcee here, and just wanted to thank you for your openness and giving us a voice. I love that. That's what I'm here for, and honestly, like I said, divorce needs to be talked about more. If you're willing to share in the comments below, share something that you have learned or something that you're struggling with. I would love to just get like a thread going, just being a shoulder to cry on, if anything. Another person says, how long was the divorce process from deciding to get divorced to making it legally official? So it took a month longer than it needed to because of COVID, but for the time that we signed the papers, it was 4 months, about 4.5 months. And then the last question is, when did you decide you were ready to start dating again? I love this question. It's kind of a funny story. Michael and I met the day after I signed the divorce papers. I was not interested in meeting anyone for a long time. Like I said, I was literally wailing and crying so hard in the corner of my bedroom. My friends felt so bad for me. They were like, hey, let's go out. Let's have a good time. And I remember that I was like, absolutely not. Like, I do not want to go anywhere. I just want to cry in the corner. Like, I'm so physically weak because I haven't eaten, and I don't care. Like, I do not care to have fun because this isn't a fun time for me. But they convinced me to go out and to hang out with them. And so I did. And coincidentally, that is where I met Michael. He was a friend of a friend. I did not care about him, did not even care to be there, honestly, and just went on my merry little way. And he messaged me that same night and was like, hey, because we were talking about YouTube and all these things, and he was like, I just found your YouTube channel, and like, oh my gosh, you are like really good at YouTube. And I was just like, okay, I don't freaking care. Cool. Like I said, I was not looking for anyone at all, especially because the person that I was married to was like the love of my life, right? And I was like, I don't care to date. I don't want to rebound. I don't want anything. I just want to be by myself, alone, crying. Let me be miserable in peace. But Michael is the person that I never knew I needed. That cliche, like he was the person, that right place at the right time, someone who we just crossed paths, could not be more meant to be. but he was that person that I never knew I needed. And eventually I fell in love with him. This is so cringy, I'm sorry. But like I fell in love with who he was as a person before I fell in love the thought of a future together or the looks or the money or whatever superficial things people fall in love with. Divorce is hard. It really is. And if you're going through a divorce, just know that I've been there and I have been through the lowest of the low. But also I just really, really want you to know that time heals. I know it's such a cliche, such a, don't tell me that, I don't want to hear that right now, but like time heals. This time next year, you will be in a completely different headspace than you could ever imagine. Feel the emotions, cry, feel the pain, scream, vent, do what you need to do, but pick yourself up and know that it's gonna be okay. And if anything, I'm here. Yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I really enjoyed this because I feel like if anything for me, this is therapeutic. I feel no anxiety, no depression, no sadness, no nothing anymore. It's just like I'm telling you about a story that I heard or about a dream that I had. I feel just so disconnected from the hurt, from the pain now. It's so, it is literally so nice. But thank you so much for watching and for sticking all the way through. This is kind of like I don't really talk about divorce. If you want me to talk more about divorce, or even if you want me to be more open in the DMs, like feel free to comment below or DM me directly through Instagram. I'm here for you guys the same way that you have been here for me. I genuinely am so appreciative to every single one of you who supports me, DM'd me, who have messaged me, who send me even funny videos. Like that means the world to me. So like I always say, this is your life. These are your decisions. Live your best life. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.